I saw the new Thatgamecompany game.
Oh, fuck, that's right. That was the Journey. I heard some hot buzz on Journey after the show was over.
That game looks great.
What is that? Tell me about... What is it?
It is definitely the most traditional-looking video game those guys have made, because you have a character that you move around with an analog stick, and you press a button to make him jump.
Nice. And there's, like, levels?
I don't know if I go that far.
All right.
But you do have an on-screen persona that you control directly. So it was Jennifer Chen, the kind of the head guy. I guess he was the one who was in like the graduate program at, was it USC or wherever that company started?
I think that's right.
Came out of some graduate program at a SoCal school. But he's kind of the creative mastermind behind all their stuff so far. He gave a pretty amazing presentation. That guy is really smart, really thoughtful. He had the idea for this game after having lunch with an astronaut.
Which he's, tends to do.
Spent like 10 minutes talking about it. It was pretty awesome. I wish I could have recorded his presentation. But so I guess the gist of the game is they want to capture the feeling of being like kind of small and powerless in like a big wide world that you don't know anything about, that you're kind of lost in. Man, I'm being glared at from off.
Keep going. Keep telling your story.
Go away. So you're basically out in the middle of a big desert. Just like they basically put a lot of work into their flower tech for flour. Yeah. They've put a similar degree of effort into the sand tech in this game. So basically you run around and like make troughs in the sand everywhere you go. And he said that he had seen someone make a cock with sand already in the game.
Nice.
So that is possible.
Great.
But it looks it kind of looks like an adventure game. I mean, there are no
puzzles.
There are no enemies to fight per se, but there weren't really puzzles either. It's
how do you shoot? What do you?
You don't shoot. You sing.
All right. How do I sing?
It's a 2-button game. They have set a record for number of buttons used in a Thatgamecompany game at 2. It's jump and sing. I'll get to that.
Can you do a jumping sing?
Oh man, I hope so.
You combo sing into jump.
I hope so. I'll get to that part. But so basically, I mean, it is a coherent world with like landmarks. There are features to the landscape. Basically, like you start the game not knowing who you are or what's going on. Basically, the only guide you have is this just gigantic mountain with like a column of light coming out of it, which is sort of always visible off in the distance. So that's kind of your goal.
Like get there.
Yeah, you're basically always going to kind of want to generally be moving toward that thing because that seems like the most interesting thing to explore. But there's just a lot of weird stuff everywhere you go. Like there was an area that had these sort of like metallic tombstone-looking things coming out of the ground. There's a part with a bunch of like sand falls coming off the side of a mountain that you could go behind.
What like
to what end?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, wait, so you're just exploring?
He didn't show us anything objective based, and he wouldn't answer any questions.
But what
to that
happens
effect.
when you sing?
So there's a multiplayer component.
Okay.
So that's
how you start the multiplayer is by singing.
Kinda.
You leave a note on your blood splotch that says, "Careful around this corner."
Also, I mean, there are things to discover, like the tombstone-looking things. You could go up to them and see, like these little glyphs would appear on them, and he said those were like clues to something. I don't know what. He's like, this is one of the vaguest presentations I've ever. Some guy asked a question which I thought was kind of rude, but he was like. He was asked a real specific question. He was like, I know you're not talking about this much yet, but like at some point I have to write a story about this, so can you tell me something?
Like, was the question, what do you do?
No, it wasn't that vague.
Okay.
It was about something in particular, but like he seriously was just sort of talking around everything and like not really giving a great idea of like what your objective is. But I think that is the objective, is just like to investigate this crazy world. And
did it appear to you that at some point there would be some kind of narrative or at least some kind of thing that you get to the end of the game and be like, okay, something's different than when I started?
If I had to guess, it would be about as coherent a narrative as Flowers was. That's just my initial impression. I see.
Punch out now.
Yeah. See you later, guys.
So the multiplayer.
So you're saying you're going to bring life to the desert. So water will fill the desert, and
you'll be digging troughs as you walk, and it'll be filled with water behind you.
He did say there were parts of the game that would not look exactly like the desert that they were showing.
Okay.
But again,
Blue Desert.
Again, would not go into detail.
Oh man.
Red Dog.
If you just build
the lava world.
If you just build an oasis in the desert, I might be done.
It's a really weird, quirky looking game. There's
pretty
some interesting.
Though, right?
It's beautiful.
So what is it? What's singing in the multiplayer? What is that?
So basically, he likened the multiplayer to like if you're out on a hike and you're walking along, and you might randomly pass somebody else who's hiking.
What is
It's when you put on shoes and you go outside
what?
and you drive to a place with inclined walkways.
Dude, video games are weird.
Walk.
The imagination.
Yeah.
Well, so
What are they going to come up with next? I tell you.
Well, the upshot of the multiplayer is that people will randomly appear in your game world.
That's cool.
Yeah, so like you'll
All
just
right,
be
I'm
out,
back in.
you'll be out exploring, and all of a sudden you'll see somebody off like on the top of a hill running along doing the same thing.
And it's a live person.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, just like on a hike, like you could walk right by them and just choose not to interact with them at all, or you could go up and start talking to them, see if they want to hang out.
Bludgeon them to death and bury their body.
So your guy doesn't have arms.
Well, can you
I don't know.
Can you walk in a circle
How does
around
he drive
him?
the car to get to the hike?
He gets a lift. Can you just walk in a big circle around him and make a giant trough so he can never get out?
I don't think it works that way. So that's what the singing is
Sing
for.
at him.
Yeah, there's no voice chat, so the singing is supposed to be sort of a way of like rudimentary communication.
Are they humans?
I don't know.
Oh, you said your guys no arms.
They're like
right?
covered. Well, I think he might have arms underneath this big floppy robe that he's wearing. And it seems like you collect little pieces of cloth that like attach onto your robe and make your robe like bigger, more flowing. But I guess your character actually has power over cloth that's in the world. So like when you go up and touch it, it like sort of stiffens so you can like climb on it and sort of platform with it.
I mean, yeah,
A lot of weird stuff going on.
I'm
in
genuinely interested in
there.
this.
It's really quirky looking, really offbeat.
Did they give any kind of date or?
He said hopefully out next year.
Right.
So, then again, it's only like 8 people working on it.
Right.
Super small team.
Well, maybe we'll see more of it before.
Yeah, I mean, there were some
More of
parts
it
where
at E3
like
next year.
maybe it's very possible.
See you next year.
We've added a third button, so 2013.
This one's
We had
sick.
to start from scratch because of that.
They did show like some ancient ruins and some stuff like that. So there will definitely be unique locations to discover and do stuff in.
It'd be
kind
great
of
if
I can't
like
say what. I don't know what you'll do there, but maybe
it'd be
something.
great if they made this like awesome like super artsy game with this very specific motif, and then you get to the top of the mountain and it's just a rocket launcher. And it's just like, all right, go.
He actually
walk back down the mountain and kill every.
he actually said explicitly there will be no rocket launchers. I think.
What if you got to the top?
All
just
right, a plasma rifle.
just like
Yeah.
a dude playing Flatware up there. It's all meta.
You get to kill.
Well, I mean, he was basically talking about how every video game in existence is about some kind of empowerment fantasy. It's about seizing the power and killing everything with it.
Sure.
So, like, he wanted to make a game where it's like you are small and powerless and you don't know what the hell is going on. And, like, the act of playing the game is discovering everything. So, I don't know. It looks really pretty.
It sounds interesting. Like the art style alone, like
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yep.
Yeah, and Flower, for what it was, did some interesting things. So I'm curious to see what they do next.
Yeah,
Well,
don't fucking humor us. Shut up. Don't.
For
sit there
some
and
people seem to really like that game, so I guess
sit there and be all condescending with
whatever.
your. Hey, maybe it'll look good.
If you want to bring water to the desert, yeah, go ahead.
I'm just saying, if you want artsy looking downloadable games, the Pixel Junk folks seem to have that stuff nailed. So, and they actually are making games in the process. So,
Fluid dynamics.
boom.
Sand dynamics.
Yeah,
So-
that's cool.
Thank you.
So
A lot of sand this E3 too.
Yeah.
and that was E3.
Crowd
Yep.
data dynamics.
That was my realization
Sand.
during E3. I watched someone. I was walking past the Capcom booth towards the Nintendo and Sony booths, and I saw a guy kind of run out from a booth really quickly, kind of run a quick circle, run back like halfway, and then run back out, and then just stand there. And I thought to myself, if you actually captured crowd movement data from E3 and tried to incorporate that into your game, no one would believe you. They would say what your crowd is broken. What is wrong? No one would ever move this way. Clearly there's something retarded with your AI systems here. You need to redo all of this tech.
It'd be like NPCs in Fallout, just kind of jumping into place, kind of hit their lever and hit their mark.
No one moves with there's no sense to any of the movement of people at E3. It's too much.